All right, hello everybody and welcome to Chemistry of Fire, lab number 2. All right, so we're going to be going through this lab, me and Mrs. Judy. So just pay attention. Please pause the video at any point if you need to write something down. You can rewind it, but make sure you're copying everything into the slides. All right, so the first page here just goes over what a Bunsen burner looks like. Some safety protocols. Obviously, we always use goggles. I'm going to flip it over to the second page. So on your assignment, you guys would go to the second slide, and we're going to start right at the top, lighting a Bunsen burner. All right.
Okay, so as your instructions tell you, when you come over here and you're ready to use your Bunsen burner, the first thing we need to do is check that our hose is connected. You check that it's secure into the gas line and secure into the Bunsen burner. Also take a moment to realize that this little knob is what controls the gas flow in, and this controls the oxygen for the flame. So when we light our Bunsen burner, you usually work with a partner so that the first person is going to get their match out, they're going to strike their match and get it burning. The second partner is going to turn on the gas so that it is parallel, and then you come from about midway up to the top until you get it lit. Now, if this is correct, you should see two flames, an inner blue flame and a lighter one on the outside. We can adjust this, and you'll hear a slight roar, which means that we're ready to go. So, step one, where is it the hottest in this flame? The way that we're going to do this is we're going to take a small piece of copper wire, we're going to hold it with our tongs, and we're going to place this wire into different locations of the flame. We're going to look for where it appears to be the hottest.
So you guys notice the lower she goes,
I'll go back in a minute.
the metal starts to melt. So you tell us, where do you think the flame is the hottest? So in your guys' slides, where it says to heat the copper wire and it says the position of the hottest part, that's where you're going to write where you think. So you're going to describe where you think the hottest part of the flame was. All right, now we're going to move on to part 4, boiling water in a test tube.
Okay, so once again, if you were doing this lab here in the room, we would have turned the fire off as we got ready for our next one. So, first person lights the match. Other person turns the gas on, bring it up from the edge, and then we have a flame. We drop our spent match into a beaker of water. So we're going to get our test tube. We're going to fill it about a third of the way full of water. Remember, you must use your test tube clamps. Clamp on, and you're going to heat it by going gently back and forth. Notice my test tube is pointed away from Mrs. Koleski as she is recording this because we do not want to cause any injury to our lab partner. So you're going to be moving the test tube back and forth. Notice that the bubbles are starting. You can actually feel them. And if you don't take it out in time, you're going to actually get some water that pops out.
Oh no.
So that's what not to do. Once we're done, turn off our gas.
Now notice the gas is off when it's perpendicular to the hose. It's on, remember, when it's parallel to the hose. So now we are going to move on to part 5, boiling water in the beaker. This is going to be the part that you guys write the most for this lab. So please go to slide number 3. So it looks like this. So there are instructions here on how we are going to set up our ring stand, which Mrs. Judy is doing right now. At the bottom, is our first table. So I would like you guys to take this time to please write down 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and 5 minutes where I have them written under the time. Then as we complete this, you guys are going to write the temperature each minute. Okay? So I'm going to come over back to Mrs. Judy where she has the ring stand set up. So remember from the equipment that we went over, you've got the ring stand down here, the ring clamp up at the top, and on top of the ring clamp you've got a wire gauze that's going to hold our beaker. So Miss Judy went ahead and lit our Bunsen burner again, so you can tell it's a good flame because it's got that inner blue triangle.
Now, while you are going to want the Bunsen burner directly underneath the ring, you're going to move it from the base only so that we can get it set up. And then we are supposed to take 80 milliliters of water, pour it into our beaker, and then I always tell my kids, use your thermometer and get the temperature for the start. So I'm going to place my thermometer in the water, and you should find that it is going to read 25 degrees Celsius.
So if you guys want to, you can put what the starting temperature is. You don't have to on this, but you might want to jot it down. So 25 degrees Celsius is where we're starting. And let's see what happens after we put it under the Bunsen burner or above the Bunsen burner.
Now, because we always want to use care with fire, whenever we move our beakers, we're going to use our beaker tongs. We set our beaker up on to the wire gauze, and then we wait for 1 minute.
So after 1 minute, we're going to check the temperature, and after 2 minutes, after 3 minutes, after 4 minutes, and after 5 minutes, and you guys are going to record it down. So make sure you pause the video if you need to. We are going to fast forward through each of these so that we can tell you what the temperature is after each minute.
Okay, after our first minute, before we take the temperature, we use our stirring rod. We stir the water, and then we place our thermometer into the water, and we wait as our alcohol moves up, please. Okay, after 1 minute, it is 27 degrees.
So in your guys' slides, next to 1 minute, you're going to write 27 degrees Celsius. All right, we're going to fast forward here to get to 2 minutes.
And our thermometer now reads 32 degrees Celsius.
All right, so after 2 minutes, we're at 32 degrees Celsius. So you guys can see it's going up pretty steadily. All right, fast forwarding to 3 minutes.
And our thermometer now reads 37 degrees Celsius.
All right, so under 3 minutes, we're at 37 degrees Celsius.
4 minutes. We are now up to 42 degrees Celsius.
All right, so under 4 minutes, we're at 42 degrees Celsius. All right, last one, 5 minutes.
Up, it didn't stay constant. It's now 50 degrees Celsius.
All right, so under 5 minutes, our last one, we're gonna put 50 degrees Celsius. So make sure you guys are recording that in your slides. When you're done recording that in your slides, I want you to go to the next slide, so slide number 4. You guys are going to graph your data. So it says graph the data you recorded in the table below. Plot time on the x-axis. So down here on the x-axis, you're gonna put time in minutes. And then it says plot temperature on the y-axis. So up here on the y-axis, you're gonna put temperature in Celsius. You can give this a title, so whatever you want, whether it's time versus temperature or whatever you would like to make it. Then, using your guys' tools on the slides, I want you to create a line graph. So do not create a bar graph. Make sure you create a line graph. Okay. Please let your teacher know if you need help with this part. The last page are your follow-up questions. So there are 5 follow-up questions that you need to answer. You also need to make sure that you do a cover sheet just like you did with our last lab. Make sure you have the title of the lab, which is Chemistry of Fire. Make sure it has the date that the lab was performed, your name, and a picture. Make sure your picture has color. So this last part that we're going to demo is not a part of the lab, but I want to show you how hot this flame can really get on a Bunsen burner.
So we're going to take a piece of glass and we're going to roll the glass up at the top of that inner flame and just watch what happens. As I'm rolling this, the glass is going to start to get so hot that it's literally going to bend.
Set it next to the black part so we can see it. There we go. Look at that, guys. So she took a piece of glass and was able to put it in the Bunsen burner flame by the hottest spot, and she was able to literally bend glass. So that's a very high temperature that we're getting from these Bunsen burners, which is why we have to be so careful when we are using them. Make sure you're wearing safety goggles. Make sure you have long pants on and closed-toed shoes on so that you don't get any boiling liquids or boiling glass on yourself.
Also make sure that your sleeves are either short sleeves or close to your body so that they don't catch the flame, and you have your hair back in a ponytail to prevent a really awkward haircut.
All right, well, we hope you guys enjoyed this lab. This lab was mostly to teach our students how to use a Bunsen burner and how to set up different equipment to boil water in a beaker and a test tube. Make sure you finish your lab and make sure you finish your cover sheet. Let your teachers know if you have questions. Have a great day, guys.